Hey guys, happy Rose Day. So today, February 7th, is Rose Day for whatever reason, but it is. And so to celebrate Rose Day, we are going to do a review of my new favorite rose candle, which is the Miss Meyers Rose 2.9 ounce tin fragrance right here. Friggin' love it. Oh my gosh. So I have loved this rose fragrance for the longest time. It's been a limited edition, like seasonal release for Miss Meyers for a few years now. And I have the hand soap. I've had the multi-surface like cleaner spray at 1.2. I also have the like room refresher freshener mist thing right here as well, and I have loved it. This and the lilac one were absolutely exquisite, just like the most realistic, authentic, just juicy essence of rose and lilac in those fragrances. And for the longest time, I've always wanted it to come out in home fragrance form. I'm like, can it please come out in like wax? Because like, while this is nice, it's like it'll last for like maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes, but it's not like a lasting, strong fragrance that you would get from wax. So I looked online this year and there was indeed a candle this, so stoked about that. And so I happened to be in Whole Foods the other day and they had the entire Miss Meyers like seasonal collection on display there. And they had the candle, which is the 2.9 ounce for $6.49, which isn't a bad deal. Like a clamshell would be somewhere around 3 ounces. So spending $6.49 for that doesn't seem like it's too bad of a deal. I think it's $6.99 originally. And so I was super stoked about that. So yes, for Rose Day, we will review this candle. The notes on it read, a beloved garden bloom made modern for spring, touches of crisp green apple and pulpy stone fruits, all sprinkled with watery freshness by any other name, still a rose. Yes, oh my gosh, this is like your exquisite, juicy, authentic, just beautiful garden rose fragrance that doesn't go too like green, fresh cut, like pencil lead stemmy, and it's not too like perfumey or powdery either. It's just like the perfect, awesome, like realistic, like juicy, blooming rose in the springtime that has a dewy wetness to it that's just absolutely exquisite, but still also captures like the sort of like sweet, juicy, slightly perfumey feminine feel that we love from a rose, and it is so good. It truly rivals like some higher end rose fragrances. And if you read the ingredients on the bottom, it actually says that it contains the Rosa Damascena flower oil, so that kind of indicates that there's the damask rose flower oil in here, and I feel like that's why it has such a like natural and authentic, realistic essence of that rose fragrance that I love so much. And I do indeed love the damask rose fragrance. So like Diptyque has the Damascena fragrance, which is also, oh my god, beyond exquisite. And it truly captures that beautiful, like the cross-section of the freshness and dewiness of a rose fragrance mixed with like the juicy, sweet, feminine, just touch of like floral perfuminess that I love so much from a rose. And it's just like the quintessential rose fragrance. And they do indeed make it a little bit juicier and more like fresh and wet and just awesome by adding that crisp green apple and the pulpy stone fruit in there. And definitely a wateriness that is in there as well. And I like it in the sense that it's like, the wateriness gives it like a fresh juiciness where I don't get sick of it, and it's just truly like one of the best like garden rose fragrances that I've encountered, and I've loved all the formats for the longest time, so I'm really excited for the candle. So that's kind of what the fragrance smells like. As for the performance, of course, this is a single wick tin candle, and it's 2.9 ounces. It's not really going to give you a whole lot of fragrance or throw, so I actually don't even bother lighting this candle. I will just stick the whole thing on a like either a hot plate candle warmer or one of those like electric tart warmers they can get from Walmart. It's like usually 24 watts, and I just stick the whole tin on there. And because the tin is metal, it's like conducive to like heating and melting the wax really quickly as well, which is a plus. Obviously, when it is heated and the metal is hot, don't pick it up and touch it. Like wait for it to solidify, turn off the warmer, and then move it if you're like wanting to switch around stuff, because the tin will get quite hot. But yeah, so I will just put the whole thing on the warmer, and like within like I would say like what, maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes, the whole thing will liquefy. And I'm just like blasted with amazing, like just excellent Rosa Damascena flower oil fragrance all up in my space, and I love it. So as you can see, like the wick has drifted up to the top there. So once you commit to melting this, obviously don't light the candle because it will loosen up the glue on the bottom of the wick clip, and the clip will drift. And obviously you don't want to light it when the wick is all the way off to the side here. So I just kind of commit to melting it because I really don't feel like I'm going to get a strong throw out of a single wick tin. But when it is melting, whoa, it is quite strong. At least on the 24 watt warmer, it's almost too strong for like a bedroom. It just like absolutely blasts me and blows me out of the house with this amazing rose fragrance. It's a little bit more mild and like tolerable and not so like intense if you put it in like a living room area like this, but I could still smell it no problem. So I think definitely like melting or warming this is the way to go rather than like trying to deal with the single wick no throw action. So I can't review it on burn performance, but this fragrance is so exquisite that I would rather just get the full blast of by just melting it and enjoying it that way. And I've used it twice for like 3 hours each now. I would hope that this would last obviously more than like the 6 hours that I used it. I will intend to keep melting this and see how it goes, but the first 2 melting sessions on it have been incredibly strong, so I love that, and it's just excellent. Yeah, I would say it definitely rivals like the like sort of quintessential like luxury rose fragrances you get. I feel like BBW tends to mix their rose fragrance with other things, and it's not quite as authentic and realistic and juicy, but it's not as like boring as just like a plain like rose fragrance, like it's just a ho-hum rose fragrance you can get on the market. Like there's just something just very exquisite and juicy and realistic and fresh and watery and awesome about this that I can't rave about enough. It's truly one of my favorite just like go-to plain rose fragrances that is just like very quintessentially rose in a fresh, juicy spring into summer kind of way. So I can't recommend it enough. So yeah, that is the Rose Miss Meyers fragrance right there. Love it. I will most certainly try to pick up the lilac one as well, because their lilac is also exquisite in a very like similarly authentic and juicy, refreshing type of way. There's also a peony fragrance, which actually, believe it or not, is the more powdery and heavy and almost like peppery version of like their floral fragrances. Usually peony tends to be a little bit more green and dewy, and rose is usually the really perfumey and heavy one, but it's opposite for Miss Meyers. The peony one is much heavier and perfumey and powdery, and the rose is much more juicy, sweet, and bright. So definitely love the rose, but I will probably pick up the peony one too because I do enjoy their peony fragrance. Reviewing the other formats, the room freshener right here, you just like spritz it around and it smells pretty nice for like, I would say like maybe 15 to 30 minutes, and then you start getting kind of nose blind to it. But I think if you were to be like a person who like was a stranger or a visitor of your house, they would probably still smell it lingering around for probably up to an hour, but it's not at all as strong or like potent as like consistent fragrance of a melting wax cube like this right here, but still nice just for like a quick spritz. The multi-surface spray is also quite strong too, and just absolutely delicious, and it just has like a clean refreshingness, so like it doesn't kind of smell like you smelled like sprayed perfume. Like it does in the sense that it's rose, but there's a fresh juiciness that it still gives you the feeling of like you've cleaned the space, which is really nice as well. And the hand soap is pretty on par with all the other ones. Their hand soaps aren't like as harshly drying and bloody knuckle inducing as like BBW's regular harshly foaming hand soaps, but they're not necessarily moisturizing or as like mild as like a soft soap type of consistency either. It's just kind of in the middle. It's not moisturizing, it's not softening, but it's not harshly drying and like bleeding knuckle inducing as a BBW foaming hand soap. So that's kind of how the hand soap goes, and I think that's pretty much it for my exhaustive Miss Meyers rose review. Simply excellent. Can't rave about it enough. Like if this was in some kind of, like minimalistic glass jar with a small little label inside a box, and it was marked up for $80, we'd all be like, oh my god, this is the most exquisite like luxury rose fragrance in the market, and I just like wanted to save up all my paychecks to be able to get this candle. But it is available at $6.49 like tin candle at Whole Foods, so I like highly recommend it if you're a rose lover in any way, shape, or form. So that's pretty much it. Happy Rose Day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.